Joe Rizzo here with the coach, Jeremy Jacobus, as the Rockets pretty much conclude their summer, even though summer is still, in the Northeast. We have a little bit left, but skates have started and some cool events happening off the ice. But here now we're kind of into this last little home stretch of, there's not much more time off and you're kind of ramping up for the start of the season, right?
For sure, for sure. You mentioned yesterday's event. That was a bonding event. We went rafting down the Delaware yesterday. Good turnout, great weather, great time. Always like getting the girls together, right? Followed it right up with a nice skate today. We do have team practices starting this week, and they'll go into next week. And then I think some of us are 3 weeks away from our first game, some 4 weeks away, but it's definitely getting started.
So when you have these practices, right, that's one thing, but then when you bring the girls together off the ice, it's a totally separate thing, right? Like, tell us a little bit about, the idea. I was fortunate enough to be on the rafting trip. That was it was a first time for me. I kept my sunblock on and a good floppy hat, so I'm not burnt today. But it was good. There was a lot of different bonding experience going on with the girls. There was definitely a mixed bag depending on which raft who was in, right?
Well, I think within the whole trip, because we went down a little bit, had lunch, we switched girls around in different rafts. We had lunch together on the cliff face there on the bank. And also, when we're whitewater rafting and things like that, or doing any kind of activity, there always has to be a time where there's some teamwork that's needed, right, between the girls. So yesterday, maneuvering those rafts to certain locations and keeping up with the group and things like that, they had to work together to do that. And I think that was what was the key to getting them together yesterday, is that bond, for sure.
And I guess once they hit the ice, you'll find out who got sunburn and who did too much work in the raft. So the idea behind that is not just fun, right? It's also a bonding experience. How does that carry over then to practices and games? For people who maybe don't see the correlation, from a coach's eye, how would you say that carries over?
From a coach's perspective, bonding and team bond is very important. And I think if the girls want to have any kind of success at all this year, you need to be bonded. You need to be working together. You need to almost anticipate a teammate's future moves. Sometimes learn what their tendencies are and things like that. So getting them together outside the rink and off the ice is always a good thing. I think that improves that bond. It only leads to us working more together when we're on the ice, whether it's practice or in games.
Okay. In store for this season, you have 3 teams from the Rockets girls that are going to be taking the ice. And I think some of the stuff that you've emphasized before on these conversations and others are that you seem to probably, for the first time since you've been running the program here, you have girls placed in levels and with other girls that are much more age appropriate and skill and experience appropriate. Have you already started to see that in some of the skates here?
I definitely have. Having them more appropriate only makes them be more successful, builds confidence, by themselves individually or with the team. So I'm really excited for all the teams this year. And we do have those 3 travel teams, like you mentioned, and then that semi-travel team as well, that Girls on Fire program. So essentially, the Rockets are putting out 4 girls teams this year. I feel like they're all going to compete very well. And by competing, I don't mean going and winning a championship. I mean being in those one-goal games and those battle games. We would rather see more of those than runaways in any direction. So I think that's what's coming by more appropriately placing the players where they need to be, by age, by skill, all different criterias. But yeah, I'm very excited about the season coming up for these girls.
Okay. Smiles on the raft. Maybe some huffing and puffing.
Definitely.
On the frozen water. about to happen here. That's the coach, Jeremy Jacobus. I'm Joe Rizzo. If you like what you see, we do a lot of these videos, sometimes when there's no game, most of the time after a game. And hit that subscribe button, and every time we go live, for the content or we upload stuff like this, then you will get an alert. For the coach, Jeremy Jacobus, I'm Joe Rizzo. Thanks for watching Rockets Girls Hockey.